Hi everyone, my name's Rachel and I'm so excited to be here on day 2 of Healthy Leader Training. Welcome to new and returning leaders. I'm here on the Lekwungen speaking people's homeland. I'm especially excited because I'm currently living and working in Tloquet territory with the Nuu-chah-nulth people. So hello to you all out there. I'm originally from Prince Rupert, BC. My background is Tsimshian, East Asian, and settler. And I'm a registered dietitian, diabetes educator. And today I'm going to be making healthy pancakes with you with Fiona.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And we're doing the island today, right? It's the island group. Oh, I just have so many memories of being with all of you and some of the new leaders. I'm so excited to connect. I'm kind of missing you all and all the amazing years that iSpark has brought us together. So thank you to iSpark and Rachel for inviting me into this space. My name is Fiona. I'm a white settler of Irish ancestry. And we are on the beautiful unceded homelands of the Lekwungen speaking peoples. The Lekwungen, the Songhees Nation, or the Cossapsan, the Esquimalt nations. And we're actually at one of the hotels and we're looking out onto the bay, right in the inner harbor here. And I've heard that the Lekwungen means a place to smoke herring. And so it's just really important for me and all of us, I think, to ground into this land and acknowledge who's cared for these lands since time out of mind. And I think about how healthy lands, waters, oceans, and forests really equal healthy peoples. And so we want to acknowledge the people that hold this knowledge, carry this knowledge, that have shared information with me and helped me grow and understand, but also the impacts of colonization to these lands. I mean, I've heard that the big fancy hotel across the bay here, the Empress, is where there used to be a village site, and that salmon used to just fly up the creek up right beside this hotel. So acknowledging that loss, but also the resiliency and the resistance of the indigenous peoples of these lands. So I am so excited to learn how to cook pancakes and just learn from you guys throughout the day. We have a chat function. Robin's bringing us a computer, so if you have questions, I'll be able to relate them to our amazing dietitian and just have a conversation today. But I'll pass it over to my buddy and we'll have fun today.
Okay. So I think we're going to be especially ambitious today with the pancakes because there's so many amazing things out right now on Tloquet territory and Howzit territory. So we have some cranberries here from a Howzit and some cinnamon or some Evergreen Huckleberry from Tloquet territory. So we're going to try and put those into the pancakes, as well as some other amazing plants and medicines over here for some tea later on. So these are 3-ingredient pancakes. So 3-ingredient pancakes that can be changed and modified to fit your family and your taste and the taste of the seasons. So the base of most of the pancakes is going to be 1 banana. Bananas, natural sweetness, a good thickener and binder. They're good in prebiotic fiber, so good for our gut health, and the gut health is really important for our immune system. So we got the banana, and then we're going to put 2 eggs in the pancakes. So eggs, great source of protein and healthy fats. You're going to get some vitamin D in there as well, especially important during the winter months and also for our immune system. And then the third ingredient is oats. So we're going to put half a cup of oats. And these are the traditional kind of bigger flaked oats. The reason I chose those ones is because for the unblended version of the pancakes, you're going to get the whole oat in there, and it's going to sit in your stomach for longer compared to a smaller oat or an instant oat. So the whole oat is lower glycemic index, sits in your stomach for longer, so it's going to keep us fuller for longer and keep our energy levels going and prevent any spikes in blood sugars. But if all you have is instant oats, that's absolutely fine as well, especially because for most of the pancakes, we're going to use a blender. So those are the 3 ingredients. I hope some of you are cooking along at home.
Oh my gosh, that would be great. Yeah. So if you are or have ideas for us, please, they set up the chat for me here. And so why is it important to eat breakfast? I'm assuming that these are for breakfast, but maybe they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we always just associate pancakes with breakfast, but I could eat pancakes any time of the day. And I think these are healthy enough that you could have them as a light lunch or a snack or take them on a road trip or even a snack before bed. But why is it healthy to have breakfast, or even to talk about healthy breakfast? So what I found working in diabetes is that most breakfasts for most people are very high in refined carbohydrates. So we have the cereals or the white breads, mostly, or bagels, and those foods don't hold a lot of nutrition, but also because they're so heavily processed, our body can break them down really quickly into sugar. So our sugar levels go up and then they drop. So we get that spike in blood sugar levels, puts us at risk of diabetes later on, but then also that drop. And that's where we kind of feel tired and fatigued and sometimes irritable. So we don't want up and down blood sugars. We like nice and stable blood sugars. So switching out the cereal for something like this will help prevent the ups and downs, but it'll also give you a lot more nutrition. So the fiber, the healthy fats, the protein, and the whole package.
So I guess it's too, we're kind of talking a little bit about immunity today.
Yeah.
And we're heading into the fall. Like it's that time where, and we're in an international pandemic.
Thanks for the reminder.
But, so just this idea that we need to protect our immune systems and really nourish ourselves. Like that food is medicine.
Food is medicine, definitely. You know, the more nutrition we can get into our food, the better. We're going to get the antioxidants, like the vitamin C and the anthocyanin from the darker berries, but also thinking about what the land can offer us as well. So vitamin D comes from the sun. We don't get enough sun from October to March in Canada. So where can we get those in food sources? So the eggs are going to have some, the oily fish, especially the herring or the ooligan or the salmon, is going to be very high in vitamin D. And vitamin D is really important for immune function. And then the gut health piece as well. So 70% of our immune function resides in our gut. So we want to make sure we're feeding our gut bacteria the right foods. And our gut bacteria love fiber, but especially a variety of fiber. So the more different types of fiber, the better. So the more different types of plants and whole grains you can get in, the happier your gut bacteria is going to be and the healthier immune system is going to be. But I know you have a lot of herbal knowledge on immunity, and so I'm really excited about this display over here.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that later. So I just brought some plants that I've actually grown in my yard. I don't wild harvest here, but we'll talk about those. But I guess I was just thinking about how important getting some food going into your day. Because one thing I've been finding over COVID is I have a teeny bit more time to cook. Yeah. And it's actually been really helping my mood and spirit because I'm eating more regularly.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
So I'm excited. I'm going to quickly wash my hands because I realized I forgot to, but should we get started?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I'll be 2 seconds.
Okay. All right. So ingredient number 1, if you are cooking along at home, is a banana. So the darker or the riper the banana, the better. It's going to be more sweet. So these ones are kind of middle ground. I would say if they were a little bit browner, it would be better. And so for the first version of the pancakes, we're going to make an unblended version. So
eggs. That's my job.
2 eggs.
I knew my job.
Yeah. So if you don't have a blender at home, that's okay. You can absolutely make these pancakes. I'm just going to show you what they look like unblended. I personally really like them unblended. I like the texture of them. But if you have kids at home that are kind of expecting more of a traditional pancake, they might prefer a blended version, but you never know.
I think one of the things I love about talking about the large flake or old-fashioned oats is when you look at the actual oat, and compare it to, say, like instant oats, like those packages.
Oh, yeah.
You can just actually see how much they've been broken down. And so maybe, I kind of think about it sometimes, it makes your body lazy.
Blending things? For sure.
Or just the instant oats, right?
Yeah.
Like it takes the work out of the body, so then the body doesn't have to do the work.
Yeah, get a lazy body.
Okay, so am I putting this in?
Yeah, half a cup, please. A little bit more.
Okay.
And then, so another thing about oats, and you couldn't really use steel cut oats in this recipe because they need to be cooked for quite a long time, like about 20 minutes. But if you do eat steel cut oats for breakfast, those are the least processed form of the oats. So I guess
steel cut ones, the ones that kind of look like a ball.
A ball, exactly.
Okay.
So I guess what these oats are here, these flat ones, are just that steel cut oat that's been flattened. So it's kind of like steam flattened. So it's a bit heat processed, so partially broken down and then flattened. So if you're going to have oatmeal for breakfast and you like steel cut oats and you have that time in the morning, then that's going to be a great option for stabilizing blood sugar and keeping you nice and full.
Can we put cinnamon in?
Please.
So I put cinnamon in everything, like all my baking, my oatmeal in the morning. I made these. When I have yogurt, I buy plain yogurt and I put cinnamon on it.
So good.
So is there any benefit to eating cinnamon?
Definitely. I mean, I think it makes food taste delicious, and you can use less sugar in food when you have the cinnamon in it. That's what I think with baking. But in terms of the medicinal benefits, clinical diabetes studies have shown that half a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons a day of ground cinnamon, just your grocery store brand cinnamon, can help to lower your fasting blood sugar. So that's the blood sugar first thing in the morning. So if you have a family member that has diabetes, or you feel like you're at risk of diabetes, then adding cinnamon to your day can be a great, easy, delicious step.
So such a good question on the doohickey, what's it called? The chat, is you couldn't use steel cut, or could you make these over at night, the recipe overnight, and let them soak and use the steel cut?
I've never had luck with soaking steel cut oats to kind of cook them, but what you could do is with your leftover oatmeal, I think you could incorporate that into this. Yeah, so I would probably just use start with half a cup. But we should try that, or someone else should try that.
So you'd cook the oatmeal and then add the oatmeal to the eggs.
So with steel cut oats, what I like to do is make a huge batch of it because it takes so long to cook. And so you could use some of that leftover oats to make these pancakes. I think that would be delicious.
Oh, good idea. Nothing like making sure you reuse your leftovers.
Yes, no wasting food. Okay, so here, so we have this at about 375 or medium, a little bit higher than medium heat probably. And then we're just going to use coconut oil because I love the taste of it, but you could use any oil you have at home. So the flavor is going to go into the pancake. So if you're using olive oil, it's fine, but you're going to have a slight olive oil taste in your pancakes. So this is already heated. So I don't know if you can see this here, but it kind of looks like a pancake chunky mixture. So
a delicious pancake chunky mixture.
So it's about 4 pancakes worth. So a third of a cup makes 4 pancakes. So we're just going to do that.
So this would be a great amount for 2 people probably, hey?
Yes, exactly.
2 pancakes?
Yeah. And
so could you double or triple the recipe if you have more folks at home?
I think that would be great, especially if you had, a lot of people at home, or you wanted to make some leftovers to have later in the day, or to freeze for later. They're really good put in the toaster afterwards if you want to enjoy them as a quick snack.
So you could take them out of the freezer and put them into the toaster and bam.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I have to say, sometimes I think that this feels like a bit of a work. So if I could make 20 one day, but then have them for the week, that would work with my brain a bit. Okay. Or my lifestyle.
Or even better, if you had a big blender, then you can just chuck it all in the blender, blend it all up, make a big batch of it, and then that's it. No dishes in the blender.
Awesome.
So what I might do with these is kind of put a few fun toppings in there. So here are the Evergreen Huckleberries. I just picked a few on my way.
Can you say again the word in New Chalna?
Well, I hope I'm saying it right.
No pressure.
Apparently there was a restaurant called Cinnamoka in Ucluelet a long time ago. I don't know. Yeah, maybe some of you out there know more about it. So these are delicious. I actually, when I lived in Victoria, I had no idea about evergreen huckleberries, but you've since told me that they're in your garden.
Well, I would say what I've learned from many of the people probably watching is that the evergreen huckleberry or the mountain huckleberry are a lot in the West Shore in the Sauk, Beecher Bay, Pachita territories. But these ones, the ones you're showing here, and we have the leaf here, is used in landscaping all around the city. So you'll be surprised at how often you'll see this just in someone's yard. So I planted a few in my yard so that I could not only have the berries at this time of year, but then also the leaves to dry for tea. Which we also know is very good for diabetes and got such a high antioxidant level. So as I bet many people are going to have that connection, there's also the beautiful red huckleberries. So we've got lots of huckleberries in this area, but of course the red huckleberry season is much earlier than the evergreen. So it's kind of, they come to us in all different times of the year.
Yes. And then I just did get some store-bought berries here. These are the blackberries. Just in case, you're making these in the dead of winter and you don't have any berries to add. Frozen berries can be just as nutritious, especially if they're berries that are traveling a long distance. If they're frozen where they're grown, they're going to be a little bit more nutritious rather than having to travel so far to us.
Well, we have such a great bounty of course, the Himalayan, the invasive blackberry, but also the baby, beautiful trailing blackberries.
Yeah. And then I'm also going to put some walnuts in this one, just because walnuts are delicious, and it doesn't have to be berries. Walnuts.
Can I see the walnuts again?
Yes.
Thanks. So we were talking about this the other day with a group. It's just the power that food is our teacher. Like when we think about how food is medicine, but food also teaches us, if we're clued in with it, that what it might be good for us in the body. And when you look at a walnut, which I love about a walnut, if you look at a full whole walnut, I can ask you guys, what does it look like to you? Does it remind you of a part of the body at all? See if anyone's getting it in the chat. Who is it? Marg. Yay! I can't read and talk. I really can't. But you guys have it. It is the brain. And so aren't nuts and seeds really quite high in healthy fats? But actually the walnut is one of the ones that's highest in the omega, the anti-inflammatory fats. Is that?
Exactly, yeah. So omega-3 fatty acids, we know that we get them from oily fish, and they're great for our immune system and fighting inflammation and brain health. But some of us don't have access to fish all the time. Some of us don't like eating fish. Some of us are vegetarians. So plant-based sources, walnuts are one of the best. As well as flax seeds. And flax seeds are great because they're really inexpensive as well. You do want to grind them before you use them, because your body's not going to be able to break them all down.
Someone asked about actually hemp hearts.
Yeah.
If they could add hemp hearts to this recipe, or ground flax seeds,
yes.
right? It could be either or. You wouldn't need to grind the hemp hearts, right?
No,
Just normal.
No, but I think ground hemp is delicious. And when we make the blended version, I think, adding any kind of seed you have at home would be just a little boost.
So you couldn't add them to this one?
I guess you could, yeah, totally. You could just sprinkle them on top. That would be delicious. Or after, when you serve them, maybe a dollop of yogurt, some hemp seeds on top, some berries. That would be delicious, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. They smell really, really good. I wish you guys were here with us so we could share and eat them together, but they smell amazing.
Yeah, they do smell really good. I think it's the huckleberries. I realize we don't have any plates to put them on.
I'll go find some.
Oh, thanks. Okay, well, Fiona's going to find some. Maybe we'll start on our next batch. So I really want to make a cranberry one today because I'm so excited about these Ahousic cranberries, the low bush cranberries. I thank you to a community member who gathered them for me. So I thought cranberry orange would be a really nice combination. So what we're going to do is the exact same quantities of the banana and the oats and the eggs. So this is just half a cup of oats that I blended already. So it makes like an oat flour. Oh, thank you. Fancy.
Well, yeah, this was the only one here.
Well, let's just chuck them on now.
Okay.
And so you can get oat flour at any grocery store, or you can just make your own by blending it.
Which one should I put the banana in?
Anyone, yeah.
So you just ground the large flake oats in here.
Exactly. So then you could probably just use the instant if you had that at home. Look at that presentation. Okay, so you can see got the huckleberry ones and then the blackberry ones, and there's a walnut one hiding in there. So we'll just put that here for now. So it kind of looks like a pancake, a more textured pancake. So if you don't have a blender, try these ones. And like I said, these are actually my favorite way to eat them.
Well, I see someone eyeing the pancakes in the crowd. So here comes Daniel to come be our snacker.
Do you want any toppings? We got some maple syrup, we got some peanut butter, we got some plain yogurt, plain maple syrup.
So this is usually my go-to when I'm at home and my mom's making me pancakes
Yes.
over the holiday.
And that one's a huckleberry, and that's a blackberry.
Ooh, blackberry sounds good.
Blackberry.
And also, if Alec, you want to try one, they're here for you too, or I can bring you one.
Or we can save a cranberry one for you.
I just want to let all the viewers know that I'm so good at eating pancakes, I don't even need a plate. I just want to acknowledge our masters here and sharing their knowledge with the plants. And,
I did too, yeah.
just how they're connecting their teachings to the land, and very grateful for their teachings today. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go enjoy my pancake.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Love you. So you're just putting orange zest, which I have to say is one of my favorite smells.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little bit of orange zest, and then I kind of cut off like maybe a quarter of the orange or a third of the orange. I don't want to put too much juice in it, otherwise the pancakes will become too runny. But if they are too runny, you can always just add more oats.
So we're using this little fancy zester thingy that I brought from home, but I don't always have these when I'm out and about. So I just use my cheese grater.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because sometimes you just don't have these.
Yeah. Or you could probably even just use a knife and scrape some off, because it's going to be blended anyways.
I don't mean to interrupt you ladies, but since you can't read and talk, there's a couple people who are cooking along with us.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Theirs are coming out really liquidy.
Oh.
And so they're asking if they could add more oats or what
Please.
they should do.
Yeah, so add more oats if it's coming out liquidy, or just let it sit for a minute, and then the oats in there will kind of absorb the liquid and make it more thick. So the longer you leave it, the thicker it's going to be. So if you leave it for too long, it's going to be really thick. Just got to find that sweet spot. It also depends on the size of your eggs and the size of the bananas. So I would say our bananas are quite big.
They're huge today.
They're huge today.
I think we just need to realize that the oats have this hard shell on the outside, and so it just takes a while for the liquid from the banana and the eggs to just absorb. Oh, she's like, while I'm here. So yeah, I saw that and I was just trying to multitask. This is new. We decided to try the computer today. I'm not sure.
You're doing great.
Jesse will keep us online.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is just blend it in my little blender here. So gonna be a little noisy for 5 seconds. Okay, so you probably can't see through here, but I would say it is pretty liquidy, and that's okay. We could let it sit for a few minutes.
So someone was just asking, the screen froze, so we've got powdered oats in there.
Yeah.
2 eggs, a banana, and just a bit of orange zest, and then the juice of an orange.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, so half a cup of oats that I pre-blended, but you don't have to pre-blend it, and then all the other ingredients. And then we just added the orange for fun. If you don't have it at home, that's fine. If you have a lemon, I think that would taste delicious. I personally just love the combination of orange and cranberry.
So let's zoom in, just because everyone's really trying to figure out the consistency for themselves. So I really think it's very similar to a regular pancake batter. So, when you lift up the spoon, it shouldn't run right off. It should stay with the spoon a little bit. But just giving it that sec to wait so that the oats can absorb the medicine of the banana and the egg.
Yeah. Or then again, if it's too thick, because one of the versions that we make, we add some other things like spinach. If it's too thick, then you can just add some milk or a milk alternative. So you can really play with it. I make these pancakes all the time and all different kind of variations, and they always somehow turn out. So for this, I'm just going to pour. So a third of a cup, just going to kind of imagine third of a cup. So these ones are thinner than the other ones, you can see. And it's going to make more than 4 pancakes, maybe 6.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see those are much more liquidy looking than the other ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of great. You get 6 out of them.
Yeah, you can eat more pancakes.
All right, I'm so excited for these.
Okay, and then here are the cranberries, the low bush cranberry. So really excited about these.
Can I eat one?
Yes, please.
I really been wanting to eat one.
Tell me how it tastes.
It's gonna be so sour. Oh my god, so delicious though.
Thought this would be a nice.
Oh, that's a bitter. That's delicious. Okay. Yeah, so good.
We were kind of talking last time about how we could make them look like red and green, like festive. I don't know what we could add that's green that would. If anyone has any ideas.
Yeah, we were thinking about how to do this to make a little bit of a festive one, thinking Christmas was coming. I think I was getting ahead of myself. But we are going to make another pancake next with spinach. But I'm not sure. Would kids and families eat green and red pancakes? I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to see.
I don't know.
These look beautiful.
So we've tried these pancakes with blueberries, blackberries. So now we have the cranberries and the evergreen huckleberries, but I'd like to hear other ideas on berries. I'm not from the island, so there's probably a lot of different berries I'm not aware of.
Oh my God, I love this person. Richard said kiwi.
Yum!
That would be great. They would be so pretty. Thank you.
Green and red. Okay.
I love that both of us didn't get kiwi. We were like banging our heads up there last week and we couldn't think of it.
No,
So
all I could
thank you,
think about
Richard.
was vegetables. They're green.
Huckleberries. Oh, salmon berries.
Oh, salmon berries, of course.
Yes, yes. Delicious.
Okay, and so, yeah, this is kind of in the way, but I hope you can see that. Just cooking away. So about 2 minutes, I would say, each side. And then flip it over for maybe a minute.
Thimbleberries. Oh my God.
of course.
Oh my God. Someone's already jumping the gun here and saying jalapenos.
Whoa.
So they're moving to the savory pancake, which we were going to explore a little bit later. So
we
that's
were going
awesome.
to. Yes, yes. Okay.
Awesome.
So, all right. Well, these ones are cooking. Let's do the spinach one, I think. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be spinach. So Fiona's brought some nettles as well. And nettle spinach, they do offer some of the same nutrients, but you can speak to nettles.
Well, yeah, I just always think about greens, right? So we can think about iceberg lettuce that's quite white and just has a lot of water in it. But as we get the more darker, the more profound color in the food that we eat, so you can see the color of the spinach or kale or Swiss chard, it's just got that beautiful dark green. And then, of course, superfood nettle. There isn't really a food that has more nutrition than nettle. So nettle has all vitamin A, D, E, and K. It's deeply rich in our minerals. Many of you have probably steeped nettle tea overnight. And I'm always amazed when you steep nettle tea for 20 minutes, it's like a light brown color. But if you steep nettle overnight, it's black. Wow. And so it's just gifted the water all these amazing minerals. So iron, magnesium, selenium, like all these amazing nutrients. So sometimes I'll make a large batch of nettle tea and just drink it iced throughout in the fridge.
Nice.
But you're getting those minerals. And you were mentioning last time just how important getting those minerals are for especially women.
Yeah, the iron, especially for women, and especially First Nations women. So iron is especially important. And, we always think about meat, especially red meat, but there are plant-based sources, and nettles is definitely one of the best plant-based sources. Other plant-based sources could be like lentils or kale. With plant-based sources, it is helpful to have some vitamin C with those foods to help your body absorb that non-heme iron. But luckily, the nettles has some vitamin C, so it's kind of a whole package food.
And I think about also honoring clams, like the seafood, so the shellfish that actually is the highest level of iron. And so often we think of liver and we think of meat, but actually the gifts from the ocean are actually the highest in iron, which is just so awesome. So how many of you have had nettle tea, or how many of you have harvested or dried it before?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
So there are lots of people talk about their favorite nettle patch. Well, mine is in my backyard. I have a nice little, it started with one baby little nettle gift from an elder, and I have a nice beautiful patch that I either use to dry, or then I like to take the fresh nettle, steam it quickly, and blend it in a blender, and then I put it in ice cube trays for smoothies throughout the year.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Actually, Jessie taught me that tip. She loves nettles, and so now I have all these nettle ice cubes in my freezer ready for my smoothies.
Oh, I love that someone just brought up, of course, that you get iron from cast iron cooking, which is really important. And they just honored the beautiful bone broth, which I think is so perfect.
And I hope I'm saying this right. Sea urchins, tuts up. And very, very high in iron, I've learned. I personally haven't tried it myself. Have you?
Oh, yes.
Delicious.
Yeah. And hihua but that's my Sinchothan trying. Or squeetsy, I've heard is the little ones. But people were just so generous with me over the years. Having that big feast of the sea eggs just to get the iron, so we know that and you can actually feel like it is medicine.
Nice.
Yeah. These look so good. They look like
little pancakes.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you can see here it kind of browned up like a normal pancake, a classic pancake.
I know.
And then here I just flipped one over so you can see the cranberries on that side. So you could also mix the cranberries into the mixture, and so they wouldn't all be kind of on one side. So you can play around with that.
So we have the cranberry orange pancake. Is anyone in the crowd feel like eating a cranberry orange pancake?
Keegan?
Okay.
One of our filmmakers is coming to enjoy. So thank you.
Yep, so choose your topping. So there's some syrup, of course,
this is
plain yogurt, we got some PB.
like, 4 weeks and I'm waiting for this moment. So good. This actually looks unreal. And I can actually smell it. It's so intoxicating. And I've actually bite into one of these.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is great. I don't even know where to start.
We don't have plates, so
Okay,
you're just gonna have to.
Like Daniel, also a huge pancake connoisseur and extraordinaire. So I'm also gonna use my hand here. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Cranberry.
Yeah. And tell us if you can taste the bit of orange in there. It's a little bit of zest.
There's so much flavor. Oh my god.
Nice.
I feel like
Orange, you taste the cranberry.
We didn't pay him to do this.
No, this is real.
oh my god,
I'm
it
gonna
is
try
so
this.
good.
This is so good. Yeah, you see what I mean? Oh my god. Well, I'm gonna try this open one too.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, the huckleberries.
Yep, get in there.
And give us a thumbs up if you can taste the cinnamon in that one.
Where's it?
Oh, I like that. Or now.
Oh, absolutely. That's okay. I make pancakes every day. This kicks my out of the park. I'm learning new things. I gotta put this in the back. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is woman can make a really great recipe. I love following your blog and just learning recipes from you. So
Thank you.
I don't like to measure, so it gets to be a bit problematic sometimes.
Oh, I
when
think
I'm cooking.
this great thing about these pancakes is you don't really need to measure.
You're right. Oh, here I can help.
Okay, one banana. And then, so we're gonna make the chocolate one now.
I don't think we mentioned that we're making chocolate ones yet.
Yeah, we're making chocolate spinach. Yeah, so chocolate spinach. So chocolate is great because it kind of makes the pancakes not green. So if you have any kids at home that you're trying to hide some veggies in, this is a good way to do it.
Should we put a Spinach and Nettle in there?
Please, yeah, that'd be awesome. So I just got some cacao powder. So cacao is just unprocessed cocoa. So it doesn't have the added sugar and it hasn't been really heat processed. So you're gonna get a bit more nutrition out of
You
it.
can just smell the nettles. It's like you can smell their nutrition. It's crazy.
All right, I'm just gonna put like a nice healthy spoonful in. No measuring. And then we're gonna see how well this one blends. So this one might end up being quite thick because we put a lot of good stuff in here. And
I think they're eating now.
all right, so plug your ears for 5 seconds. It's getting there, it's getting there. Okay, so it looks mostly blended. I might just give it a bit of a stir. And so this idea was shared to me by a previous iSpark attendee. She says she does this with kids all the time, and she likes to put chia seeds in hers, she said, and that's another good way to thicken things up. So, yeah, so you can kind of see it's brown. You can kind of see the green. Maybe if I blended it a bit longer, you would hide it, but let's see what it looks like when it's cooked.
Yeah. Once we put the chocolate chips on top, I know the kids are going to see the little flecks of nettle. But you never know. I'm not a kid. So,
All right, so.
that's so good.
Yeah. But I'd also love to hear people at home's ideas on what kind of pancake variations to do. We kind of mentioned savory.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring any potato today, but I have made it at home. It's delicious. So half a cup of cooked leftover mashed potato, some spinach just like we did here, and then all the other ingredients except for the banana. So you do the half cup of oats and 2 eggs, and then just
So the potato kind of substitutes.
exactly, yeah.
And you could use sweet potato?
Totally.
Squash even?
Sweet potato is delicious in it. Squash, yep. So any leftover starchy vegetable, give it a try and just omit the banana. And then the flour or the oats just kind of acts like a flour, but like a healthier
Binds it.
version. Yeah, exactly.
And could you put like some like rosemary or some herbs and seasonings?
yeah.
And also I was thinking cheese.
That would be delicious. Yeah.
I love cheese though.
And then you can have them for breakfast with some eggs and maybe some cheese on top. Yeah. All right. So these ones are cooking. So the nettles, the spinach, the cacao, and then we're going to be extra ambitious and make one more type of pancake just because it's the festive season.
She's forgetting the chocolate chips.
Oh man. Can you please do the chocolate chips for me?
Sorry. I'm just laughing at you. Like you're forgetting the chocolate chips.
So chocolate chips can be very healthy. The darker the chocolate, the less sugar it's in there. So if it's 70% dark chocolate, then it's 30% sugar. So you can kind of pick what works for you and your family. But I love
Do you know
chocolate
what
in the
also
morning.
would be really good? Instead of the chocolate chips, strawberries.
Oh, strawberries and chocolate chips.
Oh yeah, there we go. Why take one out? But yeah, I always like chocolate and strawberry together.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so while those ones are cooking, we're gonna make our last pancake. And this is another banana-free version. So we just got normal
Oh my
pumpkin
gosh,
here.
there's so many good ideas. We have to have a moment. So just around the savory ones, candied salmon and dill.
Yum.
These people should be up here, not us. I'm kidding. So good from Mark. And someone's just saying, when you say sweet potato, do you mean the orange one or the whiter one? Any kind of starchy.
Yeah, that's a good
spud.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally like the flavor of the orange one better, and I find it's a bit more mashy. I don't know what the word is. That's soft. Mash is better.
Someone has a really great question. I'm going to ask Jessie to flag. Can you flag Richard's question for the end?
Awesome. Okay, so for pumpkin ones, we're also going to omit the banana. So probably about half
Pumpkin?
a cup. Yes, so festive pumpkin. So this is just normal canned pumpkin, but I did bring here, if you want to stick to kind of the 3 ingredient, method, then you can just use this. This is pumpkin pie mix. So it has sugar added to it and all the spices. But we're just going to make it from kind of scratch because I find that this can be hard to find. Actually, sometimes this can be hard to find too. So whatever you find, you can use. So probably about half a cup of pumpkin, and we're not going to measure.
Tell me why you find pumpkin hard to find. I cook pumpkin a lot because I make pumpkin muffins quite a bit.
Oh, so I had to go to 3 grocery stores yesterday.
Oh, maybe it's just the season. Yeah.
season.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a few pumpkin pies happening.
Everywhere was out of pumpkin yesterday. I found it in the end.
You were saying that you sometimes make like a pumpkin latte. Was that you?
Yeah.
How do you make that
Oh my
at
gosh,
home?
so good. So if you have leftover this, which you will have leftover, I just boil my milk or milk alternative, or sometimes just blend cashews with water and then use that. And then just your spices, a little bit of honey, and then put like a few tablespoons of this in and just whisk it all up. And that's a pumpkin latte. It's delicious. Yeah, this kind of adds like a little bit of a thickness, which you would kind of get from like a full fat, I guess, milk.
Okay, cool. I gotta try that.
Yeah. So I'll put 2 eggs in, and then maybe I will let Fiona decide what spices we should put in here.
Okay. I just thought I'd flip our friends.
Oh, thanks. So we didn't forget about them.
They look so good. Oh, I always worry about, this is like where I get stressed, is the flipping part. See?
No, that's why I kind of have this here to hide it, so you don't see when
Okay,
I
good.
mess up. Oh yeah, that was good. Saved it.
I don't think, this isn't my strength. There we go.
Great.
So we've got pumpkin, oatmeal, eggs,
2 eggs.
and now we're thinking,
Spices.
okay, look at all our friends here.
So this pre-made one has cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cloves, allspice. So you can decide what quantity you like or what your family likes.
Well, I think like grounding ourselves that this is going to help our digestion and blood sugar. So let's put some cinnamon. And as you can see, I don't measure. Does
No.
it make you feel nervous?
No.
Some ginger.
Yum.
So here's our big friend ginger, and this is it dried and powdered. And then I love clove, but it is very strong, so I just use a little bit. And then nutmeg, again, such an amazing smell. So just a little bit of nutmeg. And then allspice, which I love, is isn't allspice a mix?
I don't actually know. Or is allspice a spice? Does someone know? Can someone tell us?
I always thought allspice was a mixture of spices, but I think it's its own thing. The things you learn on camera. Okay, no more questions. We're all good. All right. I feel like I would go more spices, but let's start there.
Start there? Okay. All
But I
right.
sometimes overspice things.
I'm just going to get a little blend here. So again, 5 seconds. Uh-oh.
So someone's just reminding us that benefit of, say you're making chili or you're making anything, you want to put the spices in with the onions and the oil. So it kind of just releases the essential oils of our spices. So super helpful. So thanks for that reminder. And that allspice is a berry like juniper.
Thank you.
Love it.
All right, so this is going to be the last batch of pancakes. I hope you're not all sick of pancakes by now. And then we're going to talk about some tea and some toppings for the pancakes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really love that you've made this festive one, and that it kind of speaks to eating with the seasons. Like, I've actually harvested out of my garden so much squash. It's a little bit overwhelming. But, thinking about even, I could, cook it, process it, blend it up, and then just freeze it in little...
Yeah.
There's just ways to think it through. So thank you.
Definitely, yeah. And then, like you mentioned before, using the sweet potato or yam is great. So I use half a cup of sweet potato and yam, and I thought it was going to be a savory pancake, but it was definitely sweet from the sweet potato, but very delicious. And I think that's maybe my favorite. But the pumpkin's fun for the seasons. It's just a short season of pumpkin, and we'll stop talking about it.
Do we have to?
Okay, so while these are cooking, maybe we can talk about toppings. Or what do you have over there?
Well, one thing we forgot to mention about toppings is the peanut butter. Again, we talked about healthy nuts, but when I think about toasting them, then you would just put some peanut butter on them.
Yes.
But what always goes with peanut butter in my world is maybe one of my favorite things actually to do with is like peanut butter and then fresh berries plopped on. So not jam, but like fresh berries.
Yum.
Or sometimes I'll defrost berries and just put them on. I just love that. But we also want to just highlight some of the foods of this season. So we were going to make some rosehip jam. Where's your rosehips?
Where are my rose hips?
Oh,
here.
So we just thought of honoring many of you. I'm wondering, are you out seeing that the beautiful roses are pipping and becoming these beautiful rose hips? So, and is anyone harvesting them? Is anyone connecting with them? So these are the ones that I've picked around my yard. These are the whole rose hip, and just what an amazing food. And I think that, again, nature's teaching us is that we're getting into that time where our immune systems need love. Mm-hmm. They need that support. We've been eating lots of fresh food, and it's starting to, we're not having the wild greens or the berries, but at this time when our body needs the most vitamin C, the most nutrients, the rose hips are ready for us. So one of the most nutritious berries out there, full of antioxidants, just really good for our immune system. So want to honor that. So we thought of just making a quick rose hip jam. Mm-hmm. So I dry my rose hips whole. I take the hip off. I create a vent and then I just dry them whole on a drying rack, and then I leave them in a mason jar for the season, then I add them. And I bet there's so many of you out there that lovingly open the rose hip and peel out the insides, making sure to get the seeds and the hairs. I haven't got there in my time management skills, so honoring you guys and your commitment, but just knowing how important it is to get those seeds and the hairs out, because it can irritate the gut lining, and of course some people call it itchy bum, so you don't want to eat the inside of the rose hips. So rose hips can be, again, these are rose hips that have been processed, so you can just grind these up and it becomes this beautiful powder, which Rachel got for me. So there's rose hip powder, and the smell, there's nothing like it. It's just so beautiful. And so rose hips are a powerful thickener as well, because they're high in pectin, right?
Yes.
So it just naturally thickens so easily when you add a little apple juice. So here is just some beautiful, nice apple juice that you got for me. And so you just mix a little bit of the apple juice with the powdered rose hips. Oh, and make a mess. Messes are good. And it's, again, kind of similar to the oats. It thickens so fast. And so you get to decide what kind of thickness you like. I think I need a dollop more of juice.
That looks so good.
The smell is quite just amazing. And so there it is, a lovely rosehip jam. And so we don't have a knife, because that would be easy. But we do have a little bit of a knife. So you would just... Oh. Okay, I don't know about this cooking show team.
Yeah.
So then you've got some rosehip on there,
Looks
and so
good.
you can eat it up.
Yep, that looks great.
Oh, there's a peanut butter one too.
Chocolate one, chocolate nettle,
Oh, chocolate.
rose hip. All the combinations
Oh, wow.
here happening. And yeah, with the rose hip powder,
That is so good.
yum.
Yeah.
We've added it to the pancakes before as well. So if you're finding your pancakes are kind of runny and you want to thicken it, you can use rosehip powder. And then you're going to get that vitamin C and that natural thickness, and the pectin is also good for our gut health. It's a prebiotic fiber.
Well, and sometimes we hold up the kind of modern conventional foods as the big vitamin C winners.
Yeah.
But in England, at the end of the World War II, there was a high rate of scurvy within that population, which scurvy is cured by vitamin C. And they just made tons and tons of wild rosehip syrup to give to their community members to heal the scurvy. And so sometimes we forget about the power of the medicine that's in our plants. And not only are rose hips, they're good also for the heart, right? So just protecting our cardiovascular system. We also have our beautiful Hawthorne berries are here today. Robin grabbed me some Hawthorne just to also showcase that berry, it's time. So it's shining brightly on the trees and letting us know its medicine is ready. And Hawthorne is a powerful protector, again, for the whole circulatory system and also the heart. And it has a really big seed. So most people use it, dry it as tea, or make tinctures with it. It would be a bit hard in a pancake.
Okay.
But just honoring that it's here today and acknowledging it. And I also want to acknowledge that another berry that's shining greatly, and it's probably a little bit done, is elderberry, is also just finished its season. And again, is another immune protective berry that a lot of people make into a syrup.
Oh yeah.
And it can be used on your pancakes or added to a little bit to your tea, but it's something that really supports our immune system at this time.
Yeah.
So, and it's also an antiviral, which I know we all have been hearing way too much about viruses. So.
And so if you were to make a syrup out of it, how would you do that?
Yeah, so this is I dried this from one of our previous presentations. And so this is it hanging on the branch. So you can buy it tons of places dried, or you can find, I have a neighbor down the street, and so I give her Concord grapes, and she allows me to come and grab some elderberry berries. So what I do is I harvest them off the green, and then I put the whole beautiful berry bundle in the freezer for at least an hour or overnight, because you really don't want the stems. So the stems and the seed inside aren't something we want to eat. So when you freeze them greatly, you can gently just tickle them off the branch into the pot, but you want to make sure you don't have as many of those seeds. And then you put them in a pot with some water and gently extract the medicine through heat and water. And then so you'll strain the berries off, and then you have this beautiful liquid. And I'll add a little bit of honey, and I'll add some ginger.
Oh, yes.
And even some lemon zest and some cinnamon.
Oh.
A cinnamon stick or just some cinnamon. And then I'll have that syrup either just in the fridge or I'll also freeze it in those ice cream cubes and either put it in my smoothies or into my tea throughout the season. But really just having that immune support either through the rose hips or the elder through this time of year.
Yeah.
So to January, February. So you're just giving, and I would say only take a tablespoon a day.
Yeah.
But you're just giving your body that little gift.
And would your elderberry syrup last for the 4 months?
I would freeze.
Freeze it. Use the
So I
frozen,
freeze.
so it kind
So-
of lasts for like a month or so in your fridge.
Oh yeah, how long? With the honey, I would say it could do 2.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, like it stays around. Like
Yeah.
it's like a syrup, right? Where's the maple syrup? So, but yeah, just honoring the plants of their season. And so I brought the rose, petals. This is May, this medicine from May. And then this is the fall medicine of the same plant. And then we also just wanted to talk about evergreens also. This is the time of year where our evergreens are shining, and they also can be a gift of medicine throughout the whole season. So I brought my Christmas tree blend, which is actually my Christmas tree.
I love that.
So I always get grand fir trees for my family and my life. I love the medicine of grand fir. And then we've mixed it with pine. So pine tree. So I'll get you to smell that beautiful smell.
Citrus.
Oh, it's so good. So this can be such a really great Christmas gift. If you're thinking about what can I get people this year, you could harvest some pine, you could harvest some grand fir, and then you could also add a little red with the rose hip
That'd be beautiful.
or the Hawthorne berries, and it's just like a beautiful Christmas tea.
I love that.
But again, just the evergreens right now and all the time are there for our immune systems.
Yeah.
They help our lungs, they help our bodies. So just honoring those gifts.
Yeah, and I do like what you told me last time. So you use your Christmas tree, which is great. You're not wasting your Christmas tree. And you also mentioned you harvest after a storm sometimes.
Yeah, because of course I'm not Indigenous and I'm a settler to these lands. I wouldn't harvest anything live. It's not my role. So I do trading or bartering. But the amazing thing, I hike Pacols, Mount Doug here every day.
Oh.
And after a storm, the trees gift us. So all of these little treats that I brought today are gifts from wind. And so they're just going to feed the land, which is important. We don't want to take too much. But you can, after a storm, grab these and then let them dry. And then, as you can see, there's a different in color through the drying process. And this is about, we're getting to be a year old. So yeah, I try my best just to see what nature gives us.
Yeah, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I love the rose petals. I think they would be delicious in the pancakes, bringing it back to pancakes. But I also, one of my favorite things to do with rose petals is make a rose petal honey. And you mentioned you do this sometimes too. I don't know how you do it, but how I was taught to do it is put your rose petals in and then just kind of cover it with honey and then let it sit upside down so that the rose petals are kind of covered in the honey, and just let it sit either in the sun or, in somewhere that's getting a little bit of sun for a few weeks or a month. And then you're going to get an infused honey. And I find that the honey ends up being quite runny because it gets the liquid out of the rose petals. So it's more like a syrup honey. So it's delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing infused honeys into the conversation. One of the things you can do with the evergreens is infuse them into honey.
Oh.
And so when I think about, we did bring a tea also for folks to try today, because what can we do every day that supports our immune system? So we just made a simple tea here that's lemon. Again, lots of vitamin C, really supportive. And then we've got ginger, which is an antimicrobial and an antifungal, which is really important at this time of year. And then we added some rose hip. So it's a very simple tea.
Yeah.
And you can also add honey, which is also very helpful at this time of year.
Yep.
So there's like a simple tea that you can do. But one of the most amazing gifts is infusing plants into honey when they're vibrant. So the rose petals in May, I saw there's one of these plants. You can see a teeny bit of the new growth that happened this year. So in May, you could take some of the new growth in April and infuse it into honey and then strain it.
Yeah.
And so then when you're having a cold or having a flu, you have some of this simple basic tea, but add the infused honey into, and then you're getting that support for your cold, flu, those kinds of things. And so one of the things that it's a very sacred plant and a very special plant, but gukmeen honey can be so amazing at this time of year. Taking a bit of the gukmeen into the honey, and then you're getting the medicine. So it's another carrier. So we think of water as a carrier so that we can get plant medicine. So you put the plant in the water gifts the plant its medicine, the same with the honey. But then you're getting also the medicine of honey.
Yeah.
So really good honey, trying to make sure you maybe know where your honey comes from. A lot of the store-bought honey is quite sugary.
Yes, they add sometimes extra syrup into them, or and also with honey, I think you should buy unpasteurized honey that hasn't been heated, so not all the helpful microbials have been killed off. So an unpasteurized honey, there's lots of honey growers around here, which is really nice. And then when you say new growth, do you mean like tips? Like
the tips,
so we think like spruce tips or fir tips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you.
Nice.
I mean, you can use the older ones, but there's just something magical about the fresh tips that, you encourage. They've got that gorgeous amount of vitamin C as well.
Yes.
Infusing that into water. The kids I used to work with in Wasanic would call it nature's Gatorade.
Oh.
Or they actually rebranded it Resurade, like it was quite so they would drink it all the time.
Oh, that's great.
So I know, Jessie, there's a few questions, but do we want, because there was a question even at the beginning about could you add peanut butter?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So you could add peanut butter in the
inside.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might be a bit thicker. So you might have to add like a little bit of milk or milk alternative. But I love putting peanut butter in pancakes, and that peanut butter banana combination is delicious. Even if you put the cacao in there, so peanut butter, that's a great idea for pancakes. So maybe next time we'll have to do that.
So everyone's just asking quickly about Sorry, and I'm awake, kind of. But yes. All elder, can be toxic, and that's why you don't want to eat the stems or the seeds. And so we encourage the blue and the black elder as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess we didn't really show the pumpkin pancakes, but they finished and they're here. So try them at home. Oh, yes, they're now.
On that note, there was a couple questions about the pumpkin pancakes. I think you have this recipe completed, right? We can send it out to
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
certainly. Yep. And so I think in the recipe that I've given you, I use sweet potato, but you could just sub it out for pumpkin and use this pumpkin pie mix. But yeah.
Okay. So we'll send the pumpkin recipe out to everybody tomorrow. So you can try those ones at home.
You know what would be so great in there? I just ate one. Pumpkin seeds.
Oh, yeah.
Like a little crunch with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
And actually, you know what? Usually I put a little bit of honey in it, and we forgot the honey to get more of a sweetness. Just like how this one has sugar added to it. So I think a little bit of honey in the pumpkin one is key.
It's pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I love it though.
Someone was also asking about how long to infuse the honeys for.
Oh, so sometimes I let it infuse for a year. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I just kind of eat around the rose petals and sometimes just put the rose petals on my toast. But how long do you infuse for?
I like to do a gentle infuse for about a week on the stovetop. I don't use the solar as much for honeys just because I don't want to overdo it, underdo it. And I do try to, I don't know, I just try to take the plant out within a week.
Yeah.
But everyone, there's
so
so many,
different. Yeah.
There's many different ways.
Yeah, so I would taste it. And see if you like the flavor of it. Because I use my rose petal honey from last year. It's very rose flavored, and I love it. But that might not be everyone's cup of tea.
But it would be good in tea.
Delicious in tea, yes.
Yeah.
Or on pancakes.
And I think for the most part, you answered questions throughout, proving that you can read and talk, Fiona. The only other question we flagged was from Rich about food for gatherings. he's used to having a lot of gatherings at office and with his workplace, I believe, and just thinking about what we can do sort of as an alternative in these times when we're not really able to do kind of share food in the same way. Do you guys have any suggestions?
Well, I still am making food for people. So what they've shown is like food is a very low risk chance of getting anything like COVID. So I still continue to make food for people, or I know when we're talking about doing virtual gatherings, an idea that has been thrown around is sharing tea. So whether that's sending tea to people to all share at the same time, or just, sharing some tea together and at a distance. But what are your thoughts around that?
I don't quote me on this, because like if you think about, I just had people over for dinner last night and we ordered a lot of curry, but so I set up like an assembly line. There was a separate fork for every dish. Everyone had their masks on. The plates were at the front. And then, I'm just wondering if it's not like, you don't want to be double dipping. And so I just feel like, if we're following some of the really important COVID protocols, which are hand washing, the masks, the physical distancing, as long as we're making sure we're following really good food safe protocols, I think, because what we hear is food isn't a transmitter. It's the coughing on the food or the coughing on another or the spray. So I would love us to not isolate from eating together and connecting. But I also haven't read up on the latest thing, so don't quote me. I just think we have to find a balance to make sure that we still create community, because I have found COVID isolating and I miss certain people. And cooking is such a gift. And so how do we find a way to do it in a way like there's restaurants are open, places are delivering. So how do you just set it up so everyone can eat but still connect?
Yeah, I think that's great.